Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Patra. The Air India plane crash in Ahmedabad has sent shockwaves across India and the world. It is being seen as one of the most devastating aviation crash in the history, with 241 lives that have been lost, and that has raised the alarms about air travel safety. And also it has left many people now wondering about the clauses related to compensation to families in such cases. While we can never get the lives that have been lost, we must definitely find out what aid can be extended to the surviving, suffering family members of the deceased in this case. And at the same time, we must also be more aware about why travel insurance has actually become a non-negotiable aspect of our travel lives. Now, we are going to be joined by an expert on the conversation to help us really understand how grave this situation currently is, what are the airline companies thinking at this point in time, how are they getting in touch with the insurance companies at this point in time, how travel insurance can bridge the gap, offer more payouts, additional coverage less, as investigations definitely continue to go on into the Ahmedabad crash. The families, insurers and the airlines are now navigating the painful process of financial settlement, even as the emotional losses are immeasurable at this point in time. Let's welcome on our board the program. We have Meet Kapadia, the head of travel insurance at policybazaar.com, joining in on the program with me. Warm welcome to you, Meet. It's good to be speaking to you at this very important and critical hour. While we do know that we are meeting at the back of this horrific incident that has shaken most of us as of yesterday, and our thoughts and prayers are with the family members who have lost such critical lives in their families as well. But at this point in time, I think what is important for us and our viewers to understand is that what is important for them to take as a measure or understand what are the rights and compensations that such families can also be looking forward to. So we will try to cover as much as we can in our conversation today. Now, on the one hand, we'll try and understand what are airlines liable to pay in such cases. What are the governments doing? That's another aspect completely by way of their own will and at this point of sympathy that they would want to extend. The other aspect will be where does the travel insurance really come in to play as well in such cases. So we'll try to cover everything. Now, what we are also given to understand right now, Meet, is that according to the Ministry of Civil Aviation's notice, the Delhi High Court has already made compensation mandatory in cases of death or permanent disability due to negligence or unforeseen causes in the course of provision of public services. Now, in case of death or bodily injury, there are some other clauses. If it is an international flight, airlines operating in India are bound to give some compensation to the affected passengers or to their families as per the Montreal Convention Act. Could you give us a little idea about what's really happening as per the Montreal Convention, what's already been out in terms of the airlines and what's the compensation in this case that we are seeing?
First of all, the tragedy which struck yesterday on Air India flight AI 171 was very tragic and rare of the scenarios, and we are yet to find about the causes of why it actually happened. But anything like this is always tragic, and brings a lot of ifs and possibilities, and a lot of casualties are never good to hear, right? So in this kind of scenarios, the Tata Group has already announced, I think, a compensation of around 1 CR to each family of the deceased. Now, no amount of compensation can, fulfill the lives that has been lost. But at the same
Absolutely.
time, it is also important to understand that a certain monetary aid or certain monetary help to the families of deceased can actually help them to maintain a stable life for a few years from now. There are many dependents whom would have lost their loved ones into this flight, right? So those kind of compensations are already which are very important. And at this point in time, what we are hearing is that Tata has already announced a 1 CR compensation with them. Apart from this, based on government's guidelines and High Court's order, it depends from organization to organization and from from government to government, that what kind of compensation can be offered to the deceased or to the people who are impacted, which is also at the times based upon that what is the severity of the situation, right? So looking at the severity of the situation that which has been arise at this point in time, the compensation which Tata has offered, along with them, all the airlines are usually uh, they might be liable, they might not be liable to pay for it. But as a traveler, if somebody has taken a travel insurance or an international travel insurance, and if the flight meets with certain kind of accident which we saw yesterday, in those kind of scenarios, there are compensations which are available for accidental death, for accidental disabilities which can be caused due to the flight, due to the accidents into the flight, or if it happens into let's say if you are into a foreign land and if you need to be medically evacuated because of certain scenarios of common carrier accidents and all those things are covered under travel insurance as well. But having said that, it is important that the person who are traveling must have bought a domestic or an international travel insurance before boarding the flight. So that
Absolutely.
that is something which is coming out as a very important factor at this point in time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Meet, you're right. We cannot negotiate the importance of having a travel insurance at this point in time. That's one of the biggest takeaway. But again, for all our viewers to understand better, let's understand the Montreal Convention. In this case, when an international disaster in air occurs, airline compensation is governed by the Montreal Convention of 1999, to which India is a signatory. Now, this international treaty mandates that airlines are strictly liable for up to 128,821 special drawings rights, equivalent to approximately 1.4 cr per passenger, regardless of the fault. Of course, like how Meet also pointed out, in the investigations, things will follow and we will get to know what was the fault and who was at fault. That will be added on later. But regardless of the fault, 1.4 crore per passenger is something that the international treaty mandates the airlines. If negligence is proven, the compensation can increase significantly. In addition to the international coverage, Indian Airlines often align their domestic compensation structures with the DGCA, that's the Directorate of General Civil Aviation guidelines, offering substantial financial safeguards as well. And this system aims to provide immediate and foreseeable relief to all the families of the affected. So that's at the outset, as we are given to understand. Now let's come to travel insurance part. And let's understand when we go ahead, what does a travel insurance really cover? Now, first, Meet, I want to understand from you, when usually we travel, there are many points where we are offered a travel insurance. Some are as low as 1 rupee, 10 rupee, 20 rupees, very minuscule amounts of insurance that we get. The moment we take a cab from our place to the airport, immediately there is an insurance pop out that we usually get, which assures us that if we by any chance miss our flight, we'll be able to get compensated. Some people take that. At the point of booking of the tickets as well, there is a pop out again that comes in which says that if you want, you can secure your baggage with this air insurance. And then of course, apart from that, there are people who take additional travel insurance from insurance companies as well. So let's cater to all these aspects. What kind of insurance covers what all features, so that our viewers get to know when they go in for the travel insurance, they are aware of all of these points. Could you break it down for us, the kinds of insurance available and what usually we do while we buy insurance online?
Sure, sure. So before jumping into the all the three scenarios that you discussed, I would just like to add a point before that any kind of insurance in India still remains a push, a lot of a push to the customer, right?
Yes.
And that is why we see that all these pop-ups that you just discussed about, that while you are booking a cab to the airport or you are booking a flight from India or a
It's
domestic
not a
flight.
mandatory aspect. It's not a mandatory aspect yet. So that is the big question mark that you feel. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. And even the awareness among people is not as much as it should be. Maybe this incident exactly reminds us that why it is important to have this
Yes.
kind of security already added, because it's a minuscule amount. When you say that your airline ticket might cost you around 60-70,000 rupees for from Ahmedabad to London, right? But the insurance amount might only cost you around 600 or 1200 rupees. So it is like a very small amount compared to your flight ticket and all. But we usually ignore it because it is not important, first of all. And second is that most of the times travelers are not thinking about that anything bad can happen to them, because that's not the thought process of the traveler or the customer while they are booking for it. So all these small nudges that you see on your apps or your cab booking applications or flight booking applications are a very gentle reminder of why travel insurance is important, right? Now let's say if I have to break into this part, the let's discuss about the first part, which is the insurance which is catered while you are booking a cab. Most of the insurance which are offered while you are booking a cab, they have a very minimum amount, because the duration of the trip covered is very minuscule. It is only from your home until you reach the airport. And if in case you have missed your flight, if that is a clause also included into your policy, even that would be covered, that because of the delay due to traffic, you missed your flight. So the compensation can be given to you up to a certain aspect for that, what the minimum amount. So that insurance lasts for only that trip. So that's one part of it, right? The second is, while you are booking a flight, you get an option to book a travel insurance along with your flight. Now this kind of insurance are usually, because let's say that I am going to USA for 20 days, but my return is not yet finalized. So in those cases, I would be given a standard travel insurance of, let's say, 4 or 5 days, which will cover me after I land into US for the next 4 or 5 days. And it will have three kind of covers. The one is the medical cover, which will look after all the health related liabilities that I have. Second would be trip related cover, which covers my flight delays or flight cancellation, missed connection if there is a connecting flight which I missed due to any of the delays. All those kind of delays of the trip would be covered. And the third would be baggage related cover, which is the baggage with which I'm traveling. So that would be covered for 3 to 4 days, right? Whereas a full-fledged travel insurance, which you can find on most of the insurance websites, or most of the insurers also offer a full-fledged travel insurance, which has a very expanded cover, or a huge plethora of features which are available into it. And as I just spoke about, the major three covers are health related, medical cover, trip related cover, and baggage loss cover. Apart from that, there are insurer companies which also offer common carrier death and disability, which is exactly the example of what happened yesterday. The yesterday's cover is not by default available in 100% of the insurance companies, but they are available with the most leading insurers that are present in today's market. They do offer the common carrier disability and that. So that is one cover which is always available in a retail travel insurance, or on a website, or on the website of the insurance companies that you can go and check for. Then apart from that, there are also covers like PED covers, which is, for example, let's say I am suffering from a certain pre-existing medical condition, which can be diabetes, or a heart stent which has been installed, or I have a blood pressure problem, or I have a hepatitis problem, such kind of problems, right? In such scenarios, if any life-threatening condition arises while I am traveling abroad, in those cases also I might need a hospitalization, or the cost of my treatment should be covered, because when I'm traveling to a foreign country, the cost of hospitalization and the treatment can shoot up to crores, right? So in those cases also, it is very important that the we have to check that whatever insurance we are buying, either it is from the airlines, or the OTAs where we are booking our ticket, or the ticketing platform where we are booking our tickets, or we are booking it directly from the airlines website. We have to check for this kind of conditions, that what all diseases are also covered, right? There can be certain exception into the diseases which you are traveling to. For example, certain insurance do not cover cancer related cover. So for example, admitted, the insurance companies can deny that claim because they did not cover the pre-existing conditions. So this is very critical for travelers who have a pre-existing medical condition, that they should check that whatever policy, or the whatever insurance they are buying from any of the platform, what are the coverages which are available into it, right? Second is also one example that we saw yesterday, which I would again want to emphasize, is the common carrier fatalities which happened yesterday, right? Yeah, those kind of accidents should also be covered into your travel policies, because God forbids, if that situation arises, in those scenarios you will be more than your family would be in a more stable position if you have bought that cover, because there is certain compensation which will be given to your loved ones, right, after the
Hmm.
incident has happened. So
Okay.
so kind of covers are also very very important nowadays.
Right. Now, Meet, help me understand just one more question that a lot of our viewers would have at this point in time is like right now we're talking about the importance of having an insurance cover. But what if the people who were on that ill-fated airline did not get travel insurance for themselves? We are understanding, like you also pointed out, that Tata Group has already announced what are the airlines liable. We've already mentioned in the Montreal Convention Act as to how will they be reacting as well. If even if they did not go for an full-fledged travel insurance, are they liable for all of this, and what else will they be liable for?
Right. So in that scenario, the outcome or the entire decision would be based on the organizations which are a part of this tragic happening which has happened, and it would not be right on my part to comment on what
Sure.
they would like to compensate the deceased or the impacted people with. But the liability of a person who is traveling is always up to that he deserves a secure travel, right? And all the conditions which are expected for the aircraft career, or for the for the conditions which are supposed to be given to him, which are beyond his control, has to be fulfilled by all the authorities. But it falls down up to the government and the organizations which are involved into it, that how they want to proceed forward and how they want to come forward and affect the impacted people. So it is always up to the airlines and the government which is involved, that how they want to help out the impacted
Okay.
people.
Now, Meet, I do understand that you are mentioning that apart from just taking what pops out on your screens while booking your air tickets or, while going in the cabs, there is, very high importance of taking a full-fledged, comprehensive travel insurance for yourself, because that will give you much more added coverage than what a minimum policy coverage, because we get attracted because of the minuscule amount that we have to pay usually when we book our tickets and while we book our cabs. But at the end of it, when you actually need the help of the policy, it might not be able to help you in that fashion, is something that you should know about. So help me understand the best tips that you can share when one goes for a travel insurance in 2025. What are the 3 or 4 tips that you can share how to go about selecting the best coverage?
Right. So first of all, it is always good to compare your travel insurance across brands or across the insurers,
Done.
because
Okay.
it gives you a kind of a real comparison on how different plans covers you under different coverages, right? That is first thing. Second is that what amount or what sum insured are you taking your coverage for? So for international flights, the coverages are usually into dollars, which is like $250,000 is the standard amount which we as broker recommend, or anybody should opt for, because that's the right amount in scenarios of any medical conditions which arises, or an hospitalization. That amount would be sufficient enough for you to take to take shelter into. So the sum insured which you are buying is also very much important. Most of the times that we have seen is that, while booking the travel insurance from sorry, while booking your travel tickets from any of the brokers, or any of the platforms, right, the minimum sum insured coverage is offered, which is one trap I think everybody should avoid, because between sum insured also the prices are not very different. A $50,000 sum insured and a 250,000 some dollar insured would not be like double the price. It would be around 1.5 or
Go for the
1.4.
higher limit. Go for the higher limit. Got it.
Yes, so I would not say higher limit, but go for an optimum limit. And it also depends upon which geography you are traveling to. For example, if I'm traveling to US, Canada, or Europe, I should opt for $250,000 travel
Got
insurance, because that is a sufficient amount. Even the Europe Schengen visa application, right? While you are applying for a Schengen visa, it is
Yes.
it is mandatory to have a travel insurance. And Schengen European Union also insists on that you should have a 30,000 euros of cover, which is minimum 30,000 euros of cover, which is $50,000, right? So even that is even those kind of mandates are there. But 50,000 euros will not cover you for all the things which has been offered over there, right? That is the second point. I mean, the first was one that you have to compare what all coverages are there and what is the best plan, what is the best value for money plan that you can get. Second is that you have to check for the sum insured that is available. The third is that you also have to see the comprehensiveness of a travel insurance. It should not lack out on three important things which comprises your trip. First is your health, second is your baggage, and third is your trip related delays, right? All these three things should be sufficiently covered. And when I say trip and baggage delays, it should have a trip cancellation and trip delay covers, as well as a baggage loss and a baggage delay covers, right? Because at times airlines might misplace your baggage and it might come to you after 2 3 days, and in those time you have to make certain emergency purchases which can also be covered under your travel insurance. That is one of the delay benefits that they have, right? And so that's the third thing. And the fourth thing is, one should not fall for the for let's say that it is only a small amount that it is a mandatory thing. So anything that I buy would be helpful, right? It might not be sufficient. You have to see that according to your visa, what is the requirement of the travel insurance that particular country which you are traveling to demands for, and you have to apply for a travel insurance which has all that coverages, right? So at time of buying, you have to see that whether your travel insurance which you are buying is in compliances with the visa application conditions which has been mentioned for that particular country. So these three four things are something that which can be easily misunderstood or can be easily for we can ignore and move ahead. But these are very important things while you are buying a travel insurance.
Okay, got that. So ensure that you get a comprehensive travel insurance that covers your hospitalization covers, gives you a medical evacuation cover as well. Any kind of treatment costs are covered there. Trip cancellations is something that's very important that should be covered as well. Flight delays, missed connections, baggage lost, all of those details should be there. Daily allowances, and in case there is any kind of a financial lifeline. Remember, in this Ahmedabad plane crash, what we've seen is that such insurance benefits become absolutely essential for the providing timely financial relief to the family members as well while they cope with the emotional loss. Maybe if they lose a breadwinner, at this point in time, such insurance policies can be absolutely critical. Help us understand, where do the problems come in when it comes to claims of such insurance? How can one ensure that they can get faster claims and complete claims as the insurance policy indicates?
Right. In the insurance industry or in the insurance as a product, right? The real truth moment is when the claims arises, and how do we cater to the customers at that point in time. All the insurance companies and the brokers, which are like the well-known brokers across, are trying to come up with digital channels or or a one-stop solution where the customer can simply file for the claim and the rest of all the headaches are done by the broker and the insurer, right? So the companies are trying to improve, but at the same time there are a lot of cases of fraud also that we see that happens on a daily basis. So authentication of the claim it is a very important part, right? So for those cases, it is important that while you are applying for the claim, you must ensure that all the required documents, for example, if you have been hospitalized into a foreign land, and if you need to be if you need to raise a claim, right, there are cashless settlement also available. You need not need to pay. It will be cashlessly settled by the insurer directly to the hospital in which you have been admitted into. But for that to happen, there are certain papers which are required. For example, that there is a medical prescription which is required, that the hospitalization was required, right? Then there is a form of admission which is required. So all those details, if you have already kept handy, then you should just reach out to your broker or you should just reach out to the insurer companies. In today's digital world, it is extremely easy for the digital companies through the digital channels for the insurance companies to settle the claims. And it has also become cashless nowadays. So the ease of claims is improving day by day. However, the authentication still remains a part which we see as, people find it as a slight hassle which has been created, but it is just for the authenticity of the claim. It is just to make sure that no false claim is settled, or a needy does not suffers, right? So for these conditions, you should always depend upon the broker from which you have brought your insurance, and they should be able to help you into settling your claims. And if not, then there are obviously there are grievances helplines which are available, or the helplines you can tag on Twitter, or any social media account which are available, right? And the insurance and the brokers companies would be more than happy to help you out based on the claims documents that you have submitted. So
In
the insurance companies are trying to bridge that gap as much as possible. Even the
Sure.
brokers are trying to bridge that gap as much as possible, but it also depends upon the authenticity of the claim which has been raised, right?
Meet, help me understand in the end the top three mistakes that you have encountered when people buy insurance. What do they make so that they can be aware next time when they buy insurance, they must avoid these top three mistakes?
Right. So, with respect to travel insurance, the topmost mistake that I see happening, and a lot of people raise a claim, and we have to unfortunately deny it, is because that the travel insurance was bought after the trip already started. So, a lot of people buy travel insurance after they have already landed into a foreign land. Now, according to IRDA guidelines, it is mandatory that you have to buy travel insurance while you are into Indian soil. So, before boarding your flight, you have to buy travel insurance, and after that, the travel coverage starts. If you buy your travel insurance after your departure date, or the date of the stamp of your immigration, the travel policy is not valid because you were already into foreign land while buying the
Sure.
travel insurance. That's one thing that we have to do. Second is that, the second mistake that we see is that a lot of people try and buy the minimum sum insured, which might not be catering to,
Sufficient.
or they have not seen the coverages which are available. So there might be a scenario which does not covers for a certain deductibles are there, and then they will find it that, oh, I was not aware about this. So it is important to read the fine print of the coverages which are available. Third mistake that I also see is that there are certain conditions which are mentioned in terms of, the flight in terms of flight delays, in terms of any natural disaster which has happened, and because of that the flight has cancelled, or you have missed your connecting flight because your onboarding flight or the first flight which you left into was delayed by a certain moment. So there are certain hourly conditions based on which this features operate into, and you are liable for a claim. So it is important that you read the fine print, that what kind of coverages are available. If you missed the flight or you missed the connection, then what is the hourly duration which has been mentioned, right? So the compensation or the claim would be based on that kind of that offering which has been covered under that insurance.
All right, Meet, we will then thank you on that note. I hope viewers have got some clarity as to when it comes to the importance of travel insurance. What are the key mistakes that one should look to avoid? The key factors you must keep in mind while selecting the travel insurance for yourself amidst a plethora of them that are out there. The top 3 or 4 things that you must definitely look for in your insurance policy. How to get better claims, is something that also Meet has highlighted for you as to what can actually help you in case of need to get maximum claims of your policy as well. That's something that we have got to know. But of course, at this point in time, we started off this conversation with the emergency at hand. That's the Ahmedabad plane crash. And we hope that, insurance companies, also the government, the airlines can get together to provide maximum relief that can be provided in this case to the family members of the deceased and the lone surviving survivor as well of the ill-fated airline that we have. So we hope that that's done, but we will continue to keep having such conversations in future so that you are well prepared for any situation that occurs when it comes to travel insurance as well going forward from here. Thank you very much, Meet, for highlighting all those insights with all our viewers. Wrap it up at that note, viewers, but do stay tuned. The coverage on markets continues on the other side, and I'll be back for the closing edition at 3 p.m.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Business Today Television. I am Chetan Bhutani. Maruti Suzuki's Swift has received the five-star ratings from Bharat and Gap. And of course, it's a great news because other than most of the models that Maruti Suzuki manufactures, one of the sedans, most popular sedans in India, has received